themselves, and also to tell us, of course, about this organization, the Korea America Student Conference. And probably no better place to start than with the program manager. We'll start with you then, Sarah.
Sure, thank you, Walter. So I am Sarah Sookyung Henriet. I am the program manager for the Korea America Student Conference, KASC. KASC is operated by International Student Conferences, or ISC, a nonprofit organization located in Washington, D.C. We operate actually two programs, the Japan America Student Conference, JASC, and KASC.
Hi, my name is Bella Bokyung Kim. I'm the chair of Korea Executive Committee. I'm currently a student at Yonsei University, majoring in English Literature and Business. I participated in the 5th KASC last year, and I was selected as the chair of Korea Executive Committee, and I'm here as a chair. So KASC is a student-led leadership training program that, as Walter said, brings 25 Korean delegations and 25 American delegations together, and we learn, travel, and explore the world.
Well, it really does sound like a very interesting program, and I understand that it's, I guess, relatively new, especially in comparison to the other part of the program. Maybe could you tell us a little bit about that, Sarah? When did this sort of get started with the Korean focus? And you can maybe even mention a little bit of the longer background as well.
Sure. So as you said, it started all with the Japan America Student Conference, JASC, and it actually has a long history. It started in 1934, led by Japanese students who really wanted to ease the tension between the U.S. and Japan, and took the initiative to start this conference. So on the JASC side, there's a long list of prominent alumni, business leaders, politicians, and so on. Actually, Henry Kissinger was a JASCer. How we started KASC is we saw a need to create a human network similar to JASC on the Korea side.
Sure.
And of course, there's this U.S.-Korea alliance that's very valuable and important. But we really needed to strengthen the human ties, this human network between the two countries. And that KASC was launched in 2008 with this grand vision. It's a small nonprofit, but we do have a big vision.
Sure.
As you may know already, and Bella can talk more about this, KASC is not a traditional exchange program in a sense that we don't swap students.
Right.
It's not a study abroad program, but it's a month-long intense leadership training program that brings students from both countries together, and they get to explore issues together in a way that they have to negotiate, they have to come to an understanding. So it's very different from the traditional exchange program that people know of.
Well, actually, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that was indeed going to be my next question, so maybe I'll direct that then to Bella. I think a lot of people are quite familiar with student exchanges, and maybe when they hear about this type of program on the surface, that's maybe what might first come to mind. But from what I've heard so far, and from maybe what you can tell us more, it's quite different, isn't it, than a traditional student exchange. Can you tell us how is it different?
I think what makes KASC unique is that it is a student-led program. I know that there are lots of programs that university students can participate in, but the thing is that the program is shaped and organized by non-students. So when university students participate in, they just follow what the other people design. However, for the KASC, it's a student-led program, so we can set the goals, and we design the program by our initiatives. So from the planning and recruitment, students do the task, and we implement the program. For this year, we aim to foster the diversity. So the theme is collaborate to converge an interlocking world. So following the theme, we also care about the student pool, so we want to recruit students from diverse backgrounds. So in this way, we shape the programs by ourselves.
Well, it sounds very, I guess, innovative in that the students themselves are running the program and shaping the direction of the program, sort of for the people, by the people, I guess, to quote a famous politician. And certainly I think the benefits of that are very obvious, and I think you've done well to sort of enlighten us on those. Are there, however, and could I ask, are there any downsides to that? Do you come across any difficulties that sort of arise from having this done and led by the students? And I'll direct that to either one of you.
Go ahead, Bella.
Yes, like you said, since I'm a student, I've never done a job like leading the organization or invite professionals like, hello, expert. You know, I'm not. I thought that I'm not qualified for, but I think that's why ISC stands for, and that's where Sarah is in charge of. ISC give us institutional support and mentoring for. So we did not start our task from scratch, but we got actually lots of help from not only from IC but also from KASC Islands. So definitely there are some difficulties, but I think we can deal with that well.
Right.
Just to add on that,
Sure.
so I mean, I'm the program manager. I am not a student, but I do work with the student leaders, of course. And but what's so great about the fact that it's student run is that you don't make mistakes. You cannot make mistakes. You learn through the things that may be difficult at when you start to do it in the beginning. But I try to provide mentoring and support, but really the work is done by the students, and it's fascinating and amazing to see them grow throughout the process, and to see the conference happening when it's all shaped and good to go.
Yeah, I think it's so important what you say. There really are, when you get down to it, in so many things in life, there aren't really mistakes, are there? They're just sort of unintended consequences. There are directions that you maybe didn't foresee taking, or paths you didn't think you would go down, but nevertheless you go down them, but then you still end up at your goal, and therefore it is really just part of the process. Now, Bella, and I think it was Bella, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but somebody mentioned diversity.
Yeah, I did.
Fair enough. This is now, I guess, the sixth KASC, rather. There are many JAS, but this is the sixth KASC. And I guess a lot of people, myself included, when they hear that name, they may think that even on the American side, there might be a lot of Korean American students who are applying. Now, you did mention diversity as one of the important factors. Can you speak about that diversity? How diverse are the groups, and where do they sort of come from? Tell us about the diversity that you mentioned.
I think when people heard the KASC, they think maybe there will be lots of American delegations who have Korean heritage,
right?
Korean American or half Koreans. There are actually Korean Americans, but we do have also Asian Americans and Americans who never been to Korea, and who never had been interested in Korea before. But they are willing to participate in this program because it's not just Korea America program, but it's more leadership training program. So they participated in, I think KASC is doing its role more like Asian doors. So they get to know not only Korea but also Asia from the KASC.
So then there are quite a wide range of different people from the American side who will be coming to Korea this year for what is the sixth KASC. So in the fifth KASC, then, was it Koreans were going to America? Is that how it works? It alternates, I guess?
Yes, we alternate countries. Right. The reason why we seek for a diverse delegation, if you don't mind me going back to that, is also because, sure, we do get a pool of Korean Americans participating in the conference, but as Korea rises and becomes a true regional power, we want to make sure that Americans from diverse backgrounds get to know Korea, and not just North Korea,
right?
Because that's usually what you see in the media.
And even me, I've been here for quite a long time now. But even still, when I go back and meet family and friends, which I've just done somewhat recently, it's still you still get that question. Oh, you're in Korea. Is that north or south?
Exactly. Is it really a Cold War when you live there?
Right.
I mean, it's amazing what kind of reactions you get from people, especially in the U.S. But KASC breaks that barrier, and we truly get delegates from all schools, all majors, all backgrounds. And I mean, that's the reason why we have 5 different roundtable topics.
Right.
They attract different students with different interests.
And that's something we'll get to, I think, very, very shortly, these roundtables that you mentioned, because that's, as I understand it, that's a big part of the program, and it does cover a wide range of topics. And I think that point also is very good, that diversity, of course, can be looked at as where the people are from, but it's not only that, it's what they study, and it seems that KASC really does sort of study a at least in this sixth incarnation, a lot of different areas. Before I do get to that, however, I'd like to ask maybe a somewhat more logistical question. What types of places will people be seeing on this sixth KASC? In other words, where are you traveling to in Korea? I presume you're not just coming to Seoul and spending a whole month here.
Right. Bella's perfect person to talk about that.
So for the sixth conference, we will be visiting 4 major sites while exploring the 5 roundtable topics, such as international development, politics, technology, art, and business. So for the first site, we'll be visiting Pohang, and we will open up our conference with big opening ceremony in Handong University. For Pohang, we will be visiting lots of heavy chemical industries and export industries, which made a great role in Korea's national economic development. And after visiting those sites, such as POSCO, we will also stop at Busan, where International Film Festival is held. So this place will be perfect for art roundtable. And for the next site, we'll be visiting Seoul, the center of business, politics, or lots of international relations. For Seoul, we will be attending lots of sessions and we'll also visiting many political organizations. And we would love to take many lectures from the experts. And for Seoul especially, we'll be visiting KIDA, the Korea International Trade Association, and we would love to take sessions from there. And for next site, it will be Daejeon, and this site will exclusively cover science and technology roundtable. We'll be visiting Daedok Science Town, a big research cluster in Korea, and also KASC. So in this place, we will like to talk more about U.S.-Korea scientific cooperation. Since even U.S. played a big role in scientific history, but Korea economy and science is also booming.
Sure.
So it would be great to compare those industries together. For the last site, we will be visiting Jeju. And since Jeju, it has really beautiful nature and it also has distinct culture. I think it will be really interesting not only for Americans but for Koreans too. In Jeju, there is a leading smart grid industry and renewable energy, which is expected to be a new growth engine for next century. And we'll be visiting those places and cover all aspects of Jeju.
Well, you know, we were talking about diversity just a moment ago and talking about how that can actually mean different things and talk about a diverse range of areas in Korea. That's great. We're going to start over in Pohang. We're going to go down to Busan. We're going to go up to Seoul. We're going to go down to Daejeon and then down to Jeju. I mean, that's remarkable. And I think each one of those areas, as you sort of touched on, Bella, really does lend itself well to these various round tables. Could I ask, is there an area that maybe stands out, however? We've talked about 4 different regions of Korea covering 4 different roundtables. I understand there are actually 5 or 6 roundtables?
5 roundtables.
5 roundtables. Yes. Is there an area that really stands out to be sort of the more popular amongst the participants, or is it sort of all equal? What can you tell us, I guess, in a bit more detail about these roundtables?
Well, I can start and Bella can talk more about this, but you know, I think when students start the conference, they have certain expectations of, oh, you know, if we go to a big city, I'm sure it'll be more fun and there'll be more things to do. However, you know, it's interesting to see that when they, for example, for 5th KASC, Missouri was very popular when we went. And I mean, you know, a lot of Koreans had no expectations.
Right.
They didn't know what Missouri was about exactly. But that's why there was more to explore. And I hope it will be the same for Korea. You know, a lot of Americans have heard about Seoul, of course, but
yeah. So hopefully all of the participants aren't just hoping to come and learn about Psy. Presumably it's more than that.
Maybe we should invite him for opening ceremony.
Sure.
But yes, I believe they'll be more open-minded to explore.
And I guess if we could just maybe run through the actual roundtables again. I know there's peace and security, technology, business. Can you tell us the others?
International development, and
arts and
culture.
Right. I mean, tremendous wide range of topics, and I think they'll be very well covered in the different areas of Korea. If I could now, maybe I'd like to turn the conversation just a little bit to talk about the participants themselves. And so I don't know who to best ask here, Bella or you, Sarah. But the participants themselves, they're all students.
Yes.
And so presumably they're coming with an open mind, as you said. Let's hope that that's true. But I guess maybe based on past experience, what have been sort of the things you've noticed, other than having this open mind? What are some of the things you've noticed about the reactions to the program and to the things that they learn, and just sort of from that more personal perspective?
Bella, do you want to start?
You were a participant, as you said
Yes,
earlier,
right.
so I think you can
In
speak
fifth
well to
KASC.
this, perhaps from your own perspective, or even from the other members that you obviously spend a lot of time with. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So from Korean perspective, what interests me a lot was that American delegation's active attitude. Different from Koreans, I saw many American delegations were active in discussion, trying to participate in raising questions, even if it's against the other point of view. So as Korean delegation, I was really impressed with their attitudes because we were actually hesitate about raising a different point of view. But I saw their participation actually flourish the discussion and help us learn more. So I try to incorporate those attributes in me, and I saw many Korean delegations change, different from the beginning. They were quite adaptable to changes, and like Sarah said, they were pretty open-minded to accept the beneficial things. So after the fifth KASC, I can say I would love to share my ideas and present my point of views, even though it can be somewhat different from others.
Sure.
But try to share and try to know more about others' ideas.
Well, we'll certainly have to have you back on the show after the sixth KASC and maybe in the seventh, when you can
That'd be
definitely speak from a wider and a wiser perspective as well. But I guess in your case, Sarah, presumably you've been through a couple more KASCs. Is that true? I don't know how long you've been with it. Actually.
Right. I mean, I've been with ISC for about a year and a half.
Okay.
So last KASC, the fifth KASC, was the first conference I attended as program manager. So I was more of a supervisor rather than a participant. However, I got to be very close to all the delegates and participants and the ECs.
So from your perspective, then, can you give us some insight into the transitions that they went through?
Sure. The conference it's a month-long conference, so things happen. It's not always rosy and lovey, and arguments do arise. And it's actually, as a program manager, it's great to observe those discussions and those arguments and see them go through those. And they, in the roundtable meeting, they're going to have to come up with a joint solution to all issues. American and Korean joint solution that they will have to present at the final forum at the end of the conference. So it's great to see how, students may be a bit startled in the beginning because they have to share their opinion but also respect others. And at the end of the conference, at the final forum, to see them present their final findings in a jointly manner is, as a program manager, I was very proud of the delegates to be able to do that. Another point I'd like to raise is in the fifth KASC, we actually had a North Korean defector student. That was the first time in KASC, and it brought so much. Talk about diversity again.
Imagine,
but it was an exchange within the Korean delegation even. And it was great to have American delegates to be able to negotiate certain issues that were a bit controversial and emotional. But as a program manager, that was something that I was very impressed about, and something that we would like to do again, actually, in this upcoming KASC.
So it sounds as though there is a genuine coming together over the course of this month-long conference. And, although, as you said yourself, it's not all sunshine and lollipops. And it really shouldn't be.
Exactly. It shouldn't be.
There needs to be some challenge there, and on all levels as well, on a social challenge. Because after all, you did mention earlier that this is really about the human networking.
Yes.
And so that's, I would imagine, an important part of the process. Maybe one more question, if I could, to sort of stick with the participants. Again, they're students, and so I'm wondering, when they come into the program, what do you think, or certainly you can talk from your perspective, Bella, what did you want to get out of it? A word we've mentioned a couple times already is a leadership training program. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. What are students looking to take away from this?
I think when participants are in the KASC, they were tasked to do various of activities, and I think what they can learn from KASC is definitely the value of diversity, how diversity can flourish. I had an experience that I thought that like my idea was really great, and I would like to like share with everyone. I was in the like social enterprise roundtable because I did research a lot, and I also major in business. So I thought that I should lead them. However, when I came with the ideas, the other people such a like different point of views. And I was like, oh, what's going on? So American side, they provide their ideas, and the other Koreans, because they're from diverse backgrounds, so they gave a different point of views. However, I see how those ideas are organized and complemented each other, and the joint conclusion were actually better than my ideas. So I saw the cooperation working well, and I think it's really important to communicate with others and make cooperation. And definitely that's the quality for global leaders, and I hope the participant can learn from it.
Yeah, it really is. It's that old saying, being more than the sum of the parts. It comes together to make something larger. And maybe, again, for a different perspective, I'll turn to you, Sarah. In your opinion, what are students looking to take away from it, and what indeed do they take away from this?
Right. Well, diversity is definitely one thing that Bella mentioned, the networking. I mean, we live in a society in which we have to know people in many ways, right? I mean, in this globalized world, I think it's easier to connect with people now. I mean, media, internet, and all these social media tools. But the human network, again, that I like to focus on is to meet experts, but also, I mean, KASC also emphasizes on community service in the communities that we go explore. And we really try to value meeting people in person, hearing from them what their opinions are and what their experiences are, and share that with your American or Korean counterparts, and come up with a better conclusion, come up with a better solution for everyone, not just for your own self. And it's been amazing for me to observe that, and I think that's something that the students can definitely take out of.
I think it's a very, very important lesson in this day and age, when you do mention all these social tools that we have that do help you get in touch with people.
Right, that face-to-face.
But that's just the surface level. Getting in touch with someone on Twitter or something is very different than getting to know them or learning from them. And so I think we have all these great tools for getting in touch with the people, but the skill of how to pull something out of them, out of that meeting, I think is a very important skill that obviously your organization and these conferences are teaching to young people. So it's going to be, I think, very useful for them. My last sort of line of questioning, as we do sort of come to the end of our time today, I'd like to take it back maybe a step, or 12 even, and talk in more general terms about U.S.-Korea relations. I think if you look broadly at them, you can say they're good. Of course, if you look at some discrete areas, you can maybe find problems, but that's not what we want to find today. Can you talk about U.S.-Korea relations in light of KASC, and really in what areas do they focus on primarily, and what areas do they maybe benefit the most?
Like you said, U.S.-Korea is a vital strategic relationship. Alliance, but I think U.S.-Korea relations is more based on government to government or business to business, and I think personal connections between Korean and American leaders can make the relationship, make the bilateral ties being more lasting. So students who participate in the KASC actually have great interest in Korean American relations, and I think they are qualified for being a leader for next generation. And after the tie is built on, then when they become the leader, and when the Korean and American two leaders met, even though the problem or the issues they're facing with is difficult, it's more like people to people, person to person, individual to individual, and I think that helps Korean and America issues being solved more easily.
Right, so I guess there is still a wide range of areas where these skills can be applied, but the main thing is it's all about people, and that word really has popped up a lot today. I'll give the last word to you then, Sarah, as the program manager. What areas of Korea-U.S. relations do you think benefit most from these types of things?
Right, I mean, I think Bella said it all already. I'm glad we share the same opinion here. But again, yes, I do think when there's a genuine understanding between two people of two different countries, business is better, politics work better, all types of negotiations just work better in general when you have that genuine, when you care about that country or that person in a personal but also professional manner. One thing that what I've learned working as a program manager is again this value of human network that I've mentioned many times, and that's so crucial in advancing both countries.
It really is, because as you said, when that's there, when that's a solid and strong foundation, all the other aspects of it, of the relationship benefit as well. So certainly we hope to have a great success in this, the 6th KASC, and in future KASCs as well, and overall as this organization, ISC as well. It's tremendous work that you're doing, and we hope that we help to get the message out for you.
We are still receiving applications.
I was just going to say,
deadline
it's
is
not
March
actually
1st.
closed, right? So people can still get involved.
Everyone is invited to apply. You can just go online at dc.org. It's an online application. It's very easy. Few recommendation letters. Yeah. We don't really look at grades, so don't worry.
Well, again, it's about people, right?
But exactly, it's about people, not the grades. Open-minded people.
Well, there's still time then to get involved. March 1st is the deadline for applications. They can go online, iscdc.org to find out more. Thank you so much for your time, ladies.
Thank you so much, Walter.
And we've been speaking with Sarah Sookyung Henriet, the program manager, and Bella Bokyung Kim, the chair of the Korea Executive Committee.